Hey everybody, Aaron Blaise here. I don't know if there's anybody there. There might be somebody. It's going to take a little while because I don't think anybody knew we were coming out today. But
oh, there's people here.
There are. Holy moly, there's people here. I can't believe it. It's been a long time since I've been on YouTube. I think since the last time I was on YouTube, I've been to 4 Asian countries.
It's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years. But yeah, for those of you following me on Facebook, and the live streams there, this is a repeat. But for those of you that haven't seen me in a while, I spent a month over in Asia, China, Singapore, Myanmar, and South Korea, teaching. I was teaching kids all the way from ages 4 years old all the way up to 18, and for schools for a school called the Dulwich College, and they're based in the UK, and they have campuses all over Asia. They're international schools, and they flew me over to give classes at all these schools, and so it was great. I was in 4 different cities in China, then Singapore, and Myanmar, and South Korea. So that was that basically was all of March, and since then I've come back, and we're just trying to get our feet wet again and get back into the groove. And so here I am, and I thought I would do some drawing. I thought today if we can jump to my desktop, I thought it would be fun to talk about inspiration, where you get inspiration from. Some of you guys may have seen like the cloud creatures that I've created, where I look at the clouds. We've all done this. You look at the clouds, you see something, and what I've done is I bring them into Photoshop and I paint right over the top of them, and I create these creatures. You never know where you're going to get inspiration. You know, one of the things I was talking about to some of the classes is just that subject, and I was talking about when I was designing Raja for Aladdin. For a long time, I was really struggling with the design because I had learned about tigers and their anatomy and all that, and they were very hard and very angular, and the design conceit for Aladdin was based on the caricature styles of Al Hirschfeld, who is had a very fluid style, and I was having a hard time melding that with the what I had in my head for tigers. Until one day I was walking down the road, and there was a car parked on the side of the road. It was a Jaguar car. And the Jaguar has this beautiful hood ornament, very sleek, very fluid. And it caught my eye, and it literally stopped me in my tracks. And I looked at it and really drew a lot of inspiration from that little hood ornament on the car. And I went back and started drawing again. And that's when I got the designs approved for Raja, the tiger, and Aladdin. So last night, I was sitting out in the backyard. I'm building a bar in my backyard, and with my father, and we were sitting out there having a couple of drinks, and I was looking at. I looked up in I have a big chop saw, and it's covered up in a bag, and I was looking at it, and here's a picture of it right here. I was like, man, that looks like a dragon's head. It just looks really cool, and so I took a picture of it, and with the anticipation that I would sit with you guys today and we would use this as inspiration, and I would do a painting over the top of it, or use it as inspiration and put it off to the side. I don't necessarily have to go over the top, although maybe that would be cool. I think I'll do that. I'm going to drag that over.
So we're making a dragon's head out of a trash bag today.
I'm making a dragon's head out of a trash bag. Exactly. And
Challenge accepted.
Exactly. So here we go. I'm going to bring this. I'm going to resize that up. And so, by the way, I've got my trusty sidekick and lovely son, Dustin, here with me today.
Aww. Hi.
And unfortunately, Nick's not with us today. He's got some other stuff he has to do. But
meetings.
Yeah, well, he's moving some stuff. But I'm looking at proportion here. I want to see. It might be fun just to do this big portrait. Use it as inspiration to do this big portrait. And what I like to do usually is push that way back, knock it way back. It's just it's just something to draw over the top, almost like it's a rough sketch, and start drawing. But as I'm drawing, let's get back into it. Let's get back to our old our old ways, and you guys can ask me questions. Let's have a nice day of painting and talking, and also I'm working on a YouTube video where I talk about what happens in animation. What happens when you have something that moves faster than the frame rate at which you're animating. So let's say I animate at 24 frames per second, but then there's a hummingbird, and hummingbirds flap their wings at 60 beats a second. Okay? So what do you do in those cases? And I wanted to show kind of some techniques. This is a little bit of animation I did of a hummingbird, and I just wanted to show some of the techniques that you can do and talk about them and take you through them, and to kind of fool the eye. If I'm trying to fool the eye into thinking that you're watching these wing beats going super, super fast, when in reality, I'm just doing some cheats in here. Then the other thing I have in here to go along with that is this little butterfly, and talking about just different modes of flight and how they might work within the time frame that you have, meaning 24 frames per second, which is what I'm used to, because that's what I've always animated at. I know some people animate at 30 frames a second now, and some people even are animating at 60 frames a second sometimes. I've talked to some people doing that, and that's crazy. I don't know how you get to, I don't know how you do that.
Patience.
Patience, my son.
Lots and lots of patience.
But anyway, so that's that. So look for that video coming out on my YouTube channel in the next day. I'll have it done tonight. I spent the last day here just doing this animation, prepping for it, and then I'll set it up tonight. Probably after I'm done with the live stream, we'll shoot it and I'll get it out there tomorrow. So there's that. So let's jump back over to Photoshop.
Next, we got a question about the hummingbird.
Yes.
Did you draw a path of action first, or just straight ahead the whole thing? I
did just straight ahead the whole thing. I kind of had it in my head I knew I wanted this fluid path coming in, and I think of when I do animation. Let me jump back to this real quick. I know we're going to jump back and forth. When I do animation, when I think about I think about fluidity all the time. Fluidity gives your animation grace. And there's not just fluidity within the three-dimensional space that you're animating in, with the character being fluid in the way that they move, but I also think about fluidity in the two-dimensional space of the screen itself, okay? And the way something moves on that two-dimensional surface. Even if it's moving in and out, I'm still thinking about how it might move in a two-dimensional surface. Okay, so I think about, this hummingbird, even though when it comes in, it's coming in it's coming in at a distance. I'm thinking about a very fluid line, kind of a graceful path of action. You'll see it comes in and makes a circle, and then it settles, and then it anticipates, comes back, and shoots out again in another graceful curve. I'm always thinking about those types of things. And so I usually have it in my head first, and then I just kind of animate through. Sometimes people, if it helps to lay down a path of action first, then that's great. But I've done this a lot. I've been doing it for 30 years. And so a lot of times I can just kind of see it in my mind's eye and then just follow that path. So there you go.
Got a question?
Sure.
When you were making Brother Bear, who came up with the idea to change the aspect ratio of the movie after Kenai transformed into a bear?
You know what? I can't remember if it was me or Chuck or Bob or who. Bob, my co-director, he was the head of layout. I do remember we were talking about the thematic of seeing through new eyes. Okay, the whole idea is is to see through another's eyes to understand who they are. That's one of the things that was a thematic for the film. And we were talking about different ways to do that, not just from a story standpoint, but also how do you do it visually. And one of the things we decided to do was boost the saturation of the color from the first act to the second act, which is when Kenai becomes a bear. So there's several different things that happen. The color gets boosted. The animal characters become more character. They're not. They don't have the soul. The dark eyes and things like that. And then the other thing that came up, and I can't remember who came up with it, was changing that aspect ratio. And I think what it was, we were talking about the Wizard of Oz and going from black and white to color. And I think as our discussion progressed, we just said, well, why don't we change the aspect ratio? There are films that have done that, other films, and so that's what we decided to do. So that's I can't remember whose idea it was, but it all came out of discussing this idea of seeing through new eyes, and the idea that the other thing too, just to be even more specific, when Kenai's human, and he's got this very narrow-minded view of the world, the aspect ratio is more narrow. And it's not until he becomes a bear and his viewpoint is going to open up that it literally opens up. So those are things we talk about when we're making, every decision we make is in support of the story and the message we're trying to get across. All right. I'm going to talk. I'm going to draw. All right. Here we go. Let me get a better brush than that. Let me get my sketching brush. Alrighty. I don't like to draw on white, so I'm going to fill that in with some gray. That's better. Whoops. There we go. Let's draw this a little bigger. Alright, let's do a dragon. Man, I love dragons. I love drawing dragons. I'm going to explore right now. What am I doing? There we go.
What was the most challenging thing you ever animated?
Most challenging thing I ever animated. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can pull it up on YouTube. Let's do this. I want to see. I'm going to show you. It was a short cartoon called Trail Mix-Up. Let's see if it comes up. There it is, Roger Rabbit, Trail Mix-Up. Now, this was a Roger Rabbit cartoon. Now, I animated the beginning, pretty much the beginning of it. And there's a scene where Roger gets tripped up. I animated him getting tripped up, but then he comes swinging in. He's wrapped up in this rope. He comes swinging in, and he's twirling this way, and he's having to deliver dialogue. I'll show you right here. And it was very difficult because of the technical aspect of it. So I did all this.
You did that too?
Yeah. Huh. Did all this. So right here. Oh, not right. Here it comes. I animated this. Right here. So look how he's twirling. And his swinging is getting less and less. And then he has to slow down. And then he starts rotating back the other way. And all of that while delivering dialogue. It doesn't look like much, but it took me, I don't know, about 8 different passes to figure out all the mathematics of how to get all of that to work. If I back this up. So just watch for a second and think about that. Let me pause this. Watch for a second and think about, as he swings in, the pendulum has to get smaller and smaller. Plus he's going in and out. He's swinging in a circle. And he's twirling. And this twirling has to get less and less. And he's delivering dialogue. Those are all different timings. And it was it was crazy. It took me quite a bit to figure it out. But I'll play it.
Man, I haven't watched that short in forever.
I'll give you one more chance.
So there you go. That was one of the most complicated scenes I've ever done. It was really difficult. But I mean, there's been acting scenes that have been difficult. I did the sequence with in Beauty and the Beast where the Beast is getting bandaged by Belle in front of the fireplace, and they get into this big fight. And I was a young animator back then. I was only 22 or 23, and it was a lot to figure out and a lot to to put my. I was acting was new to me, and so that was difficult as well. So there you go. So let's see here. I'm just gonna start drawing some shape here. Something here. What it really drew me to this, no pun intended, was this squared off nose, and for me it looks like this is the eye. Right in here. So I like to come in. I'm going to come in and really.
Was eye focus a big part of making it read?
Eye focus, making what read?
I'm guessing the pendulum swing.
Yes, that was definitely, because he has to keep looking as he's turning. He has to keep looking at Mom, and it was really it's hard to do.
Did you overlay the motion lines as you were drawing the pendulum swinging?
Did I overlay the motion lines?
Like, did you?
No, I don't.
Ahead the motion.
Yes. I planned. I did it in several different passes. What I did was, first I just animated no features or anything. I just animated a pendulum swinging with a sack on the end of it, back and forth, and ultimately slowing down. Then I took that same timing and I animated it doing this and slowing down. So I had the in and out. Okay. Then I added the rope and then started a twirling over those same drawings. So the timing of the twirling, I could keep everything separate. Every pass, I added something new. So then once all of that was added and I figured it all out, the spinning and the swinging and the settling down, then I was able to add the acting over the top of that, and I just followed what I had drawn already.
Personal question: before you did the actual animation, did you do any studying of the way a pendulum works, or did you already know how to animate?
No, I just kind of did what was in my head. I mean, a pendulum, it's like anything else, like a bouncing ball, right? It's eventually it's got gravity's going to slow it down, and so I just kind of winged it. Something pretty cool already with this. I really like this. I think I'm going to add. Turn this off.
What animal do you find most challenging to draw?
I don't. That's
because of strange proportions or something.
I find, believe it or not, everybody sees me as an animal guy. I find all animals really fairly challenging. I've got to constantly, remind myself of the anatomy, the form, and that sort of thing.
Well, which animal do you find the most difficult to readapt to, if you haven't drawn in a while?
Yeah. Well, the other day I was drawing. A couple of years ago I was drawing elephants every day because I was directing an elephant film, The Legend of Tembo, and I sat down to draw elephants, and I hadn't drawn them in a couple months, and it was a little bit of a struggle. I was like, whoa, what's going on? It's sort of like if you play music. I don't know how many of you out there play music, but I play guitar. And if I don't play guitar for a while, I'll forget everything. And it's sort of, that's how it is with drawing and painting. It's a muscle. And if you don't use it, it'll get weak.
I remember doing the karaoke bar every single Wednesday over and over, and it actually helped my voice.
Yeah.
But then, I'll be able to hit all these high notes and everything, but then I'll be gone for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back in, sing the same songs, but I wouldn't be able to hit those notes like I used to.
Exactly.
Just basically start from square one.
Yep. Same idea. So already I'm digging this. There's something about this. I never would have drawn anything like this had I not looked at that bag and saw something there.
Where can I buy that sketch brush?
This sketch brush is available on my website. You'll get it for free if you sign up for my newsletter. Go to my website, creatureartteacher.com. And if you sign up for the website, this is free. The brush is. But it's also part of my it's part of my original custom brush set. I'm trying to remember which. Right here. Can you give them the? Do you know how to go to the website and give them the link to it?
To the official website.
Yep. To the brushes. Sorry, guys.
Brushes.
I can find it here. So here we go. So let me go to tutorials and lessons.
By the way, do you
This is
have
my
any,
administrator thing. There we go. I want my Photoshop tutorials, brush and texture sets. There we go. Trying to navigate my own. Oh, I just saw it. Okay, so this brush set right here has it. My custom brush set 1, and it is brush number 7. I'm going to pull it up right here. Here's the brushes. If you look at brush number 7 right here, the brush samples, that's the brush. Okay, it's a great. I use it all the time on everything. It's my number 1 brush that I use. And like I said, if you sign up for my newsletter, you will get that for free.
Do you have a tutorial on how to sync animation with audio in Adobe Animate?
I do not. I don't use Adobe Animate. I use TV Paint. But I do in my animation course on my website, I talk about dialogue and how to animate to dialogue and sync it and that sort of thing. So here I'm just I want to do something more than just his head sticking up here.
Have you tried the paint tool SAI? S-A-I?
I've not. I don't know what that is. Enlighten me.
Do you have any pets yourself?
Yes, we've got Achilles. Where's Achilles? Is he outside? Achilles! Yeah, I think he's outside. He's outside with my father building the bar. When I'm working on, during the week, when I'm doing the live streams with you guys, I'm in here and my father's building a bar. And then after I get done with these, I go outside and I put on my tool belt, then I'm building the bar as well. All right, let's see here. Edit. I'm going to shrink this up again. So let's go into a shoulder blade here. There.
Somebody said I can imagine seeing feathers going down the dragon's neck.
Oh, that's a great idea. Are you thinking about off the back?
Either off the back or maybe like
plumes?
After hearing that, I was thinking like down the sides and the back, like just keeping the front area bare.
I like that idea. What if I did? Oh, let's see.
Ooh. That's the new idea. Ooh,
Ooh.
ooh, idea.
Let's see, I want his shoulder to come here. Let's see if I can do this right.
What type of what character type or animal do you think is the most flexible and simple to animate?
A worm. No. That was my stupid answer. I'm sorry.
Worm.
I'm an idiot.
You could have said snake.
I love I love that video.
I'm a snake. I just had to do it. I just had to.
There. I like this. I like this idea here. You guys are giving me some good ideas. This feels really cool. I'm going to shrink it up again.
What's your opinion on Don Bluth, and are you aware of his upcoming 2D project?
Yes. Yes and yes. Yes.
I was
What?
not aware of a future project.
No, I think Don's great. I've actually never met Don. Bluth, Mr. Bluth.
Mr. Bluth.
I want to have these wings come way back, almost like a tern. A tern is a type of gull, or seabird, I should say. It's not a gull. But they have these long pointed wings that I really like. But I want him to feel, let's see. Keep shrinking them. Keep shrinking them.
That means he's going to be bigger.
Bigger. Bigger. Let me draw through here. Get a nice big breastplate.
What online or offline resources do you recommend for learning foundations? Huge fan of your work.
For learning, say that again?
For learning
No,
foundations.
don't ask me the whole question.
Oh. What online or offline resources do you recommend for learning foundations?
Come on, man. Come on, I'm right here. Creature
I'm
Art
here
Teacher.
for you.
CreatureArtTeacher.com. No, I mean, anything, I've got great stuff. Schoolism, Bobby Chew has great stuff. Proco has great stuff. Between myself, Bobby Chew, Proco, I think we have a lot of stuff out there. And it really depends on what you're looking for. If you if you could just search YouTube for whatever it is that you're interested in, you're going to get a pile of videos that come up.
I think Proco's like excellent at, especially like character and like illustration kind of style, especially towards like human anatomy.
Yeah.
Like he goes like really into detail on that stuff.
I wonder if this is something I want to do.
How do you approach drawing animals in different perspectives?
A lot of times you can think about a box. Think about a box in perspective and placing that animal in there. That's, for people that struggle with it, that's a good way to start. Let me get this in here. There we go. Just think about that box and putting your creature in it, and then draw the perspective accordingly.
Somebody recommends, or is asking like, is this going to be a four-legged dragon? And
No.
to be honest, with a head like that, I feel the body right now is just feeling a little scrawny for a head for a
Yeah,
head
I'm wondering.
that mass.
I'm wondering if. No, look at that. We just started with a garbage bag. Isn't that cool? This is what I'm talking about. This is why I love drawing and being inspired and being creative. Because I was drinking a vodka, looking at a garbage bag on top of my chop saw, and now the next morning we're drawing some dragon because of it. So it's kind of cool.
Kind of reminds me of all those cloud.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm liking this a ton. It's getting a little chicken-like.
Mm-hmm. Kind of looks like if you mixed a turtle head with a chicken body.
You're a turtle head.
Your butt's a turtle head.
All right, let's see here. I'm just drawing shape. What happens if those wings will never carry that big of a shape. Keep them thin. Well, I want to get into the details of the head anyway, so I'm going to go back. This is my cop out. Bring him up in here.
While you were at Disney, how was the fun and energy levels maintained for such long production times?
We were just a bunch of goofy kids, and that's basically why and
Bunch
how.
of pranksters.
Yeah, we pranked each other a lot. We did a lot of activities together. We went out a lot together. It was, yeah, it's hard to explain. It was just a really magical time for us.
Rubber band wars.
The rubber band wars. Yeah, we were kids. I mean, we were in our 20s, most of us, and it was a great time. I'm gonna blow this up again some more. It was a great time to be in animation, and we really loved it.
And what got you? What made you decide to become an animator in the first place?
I wanted to be, um, I actually wanted to be an illustrator for National Geographic, and I'm just going to do this. We're just going to do a straight up creature portrait. I wanted to be an illustrator for National Geographic. And so I went to college. I went to the Ringling College of Art and Design, and I majored in illustration. Well, I found out very quickly that National Geographic didn't have on-staff illustrators. They were freelancing for the kind of stuff that I wanted to do. And I had freelanced to pay myself through school, to put myself through school, and I didn't want to freelance anymore. I really wanted to find a staff position somewhere. And I found out about two companies that were coming to Ringling. One was Hallmark Cards, and the other one was Disney. And Disney happened to be first. I could be very well sitting here doing greeting cards right now, but uh, Disney was first. I put together a portfolio of animal drawings, which I was a bit avid animal drawer back then, uh, and figure drawings. And they took me into this internship that they were offering. It was the first time that they were offering internships to non-animation schools. Ringling wasn't an animation school at the time, and they wanted to see if they could teach animation to people coming in, like myself, if we had a strong foundation in drawing and painting, which I did. And so I was mentored by Glenn Keane. For those of you that don't know who Glenn Keane is, he's one of the greatest contemporary animators alive. And I was very lucky to have him as my teacher and friend. And so he mentored me, took me under his wing, and I remember that first day sitting in his office and him showing me the possibilities of what animation can be. And he came into animation in the same way as an illustrator, a painter, draftsman, and it just he has a way of inspiring. And he really inspired me that day. And I realized in that moment, sitting in his office in June of 1988, 30 years ago, that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So that's how I became an animator.
What was the first scene you animated at Disney?
It was we were doing another Roger Rabbit cartoon called Roller Coaster Rabbit. And I had just been promoted to animator, and it was just this little shot of Roger holding baby Herman as they went zooming down the tracks, and there wasn't much to it. He just kind of, something happens and he looks at the camera with one eyebrow like, huh, and then looks forward and then they take off. And that was my very first production scene of anything. I don't know why I can still even remember that.
Baby Herman!
Have you ever met James Gurney?
I've never met James Gurney, and I'd love to, because I'm a huge fan.
And what are your thoughts on Bill Plimpton's wacky comedic style of character animation?
I love Bill Plimpton's work. I'm absolutely in love with his work. I like everything he does.
What work have you done?
He does. It's hard to explain. He's done a lot of. It's a lot of short stuff. Back in the '80s, he was doing stuff in like colored pencil, and he might still be doing that. But it's just really kind of off the wall, wacky humor, and I just love it. There we go. Make the kind of like this part of like almost like a beak.
When did you start drawing?
This is what I always tell people. I started drawing when the Beatles were still a band and Jimi Hendrix was still playing guitar.
So last year.
Yeah, exactly. I started drawing at about 2 years old, where I was like seriously drawing all the time. And my family was very artistic and very supportive of the arts, and so my mother was always encouraging me to draw, even at a young age. So she would take brown grocery bags. There weren't plastic bags back then, paper bags, and she would tear them up, cut them open, flatten them out, and that would be my paper that I would use, and I would draw. I remember just always drawing. I don't remember ever not drawing.
How did you feel when you saw Glenn Keane again? Back at I'm sure it meant like back at CTM.
Oh, it's wonderful. Anytime I get to see Glenn, it's great to talk and catch up. And Glenn's a wonderful human being, and it was it was great.
Will we be making a course on birds?
Yes, that's down the road. Not sure when we're going to get to it. The next course we're working on, I'm actually starting it finally on Monday or Tuesday. Is my course on wolves, coyotes, and foxes. How to draw.
But later today or tomorrow, we're going to be releasing on. Are we releasing on YouTube the flight animation stuff?
Yeah, that's the stuff I was talking about earlier. Yeah. Yeah, just techniques on how to deal with that stuff. This is kind of cool. I'm digging this creature.
Do you think it's good to listen to music while drawing?
Always. I always listen to music. The only reason I'm not playing music now is I wouldn't be able to post this video because I don't have the rights to the music.
Oh yeah.
But no, I can't not listen to music. It's funny though, if I'm animating dialogue and I have to hear something specific and I'm acting, trying to figure out the acting, I can't listen to music because it becomes too distracting. But as soon as I've got the acting figured out and it's animated, and then I'm just filling in drawings, then there's no problem.
Is Wiley the Coyote going to make an appearance in the in the next lesson set?
Oh, that's funny. Probably not, because I don't have the rights to that character, but that is pretty funny. There we go.
Well, we'll just do a character called Wilo, the Coyote's brother.
Yeah.
Make him a bit beefier.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
How big is your canvas in pixels?
Let's see, because I cropped it. Let's go to image size. We are at 11.243. It's almost perfectly square. Let's I want to go to 20. There we go. Hit OK. That just gives me a better resolution.
What's your favorite music?
You know what? I listen to everything.
Everything.
I listened to hardcore blues, heavy rock, all the way to before we started, I was just listening to George Michael.
Heavy metal?
Not much heavy metal.
Rap?
No rap.
Then not everything. Bam! What
Have you
computer are you currently
have you ever seen a man eat his own head? Then you haven't seen everything.
I love that line.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
What's the computer that you're currently working on?
This is a Mac Pro that I'm using, and if you could switch to camera 2, Dustin. I almost just called you Travis.
Really?
Yeah. So switching to camera 2. Oh, are we not plugged in? We're not plugged in. Sorry.
No.
So hold on. Sorry for the black
I'll
screen.
just put you on webcam for a moment while I
Oh, there we go.
get this wire.
So right now I'm working on a 27-inch Cintiq made by Wacom, and I love Cintiqs. I love all of Wacom's products. And when I'm on the road, I use an Intuos Pro. Here you go. So you can see this is my setup here. It's a good sized screen. It's I really like it.
And should we show what the actual tower is?
Oh yeah. Oh, the tower's back here. You can't. I don't know if you can see it, but that's my. There you go.
Right back there.
The little donut. That's the Mac Pro. So that's my equipment there. So, but I'm going to get back to drawing. Digging it. I'm digging this, you guys. All started from a garbage bag.
Bunch of garbage.
I kind of want.
Where's your ponytail?
Where's my ponytail? I cut my hair. I cut my hair about every 3 or 4 years, and I chop it off short, and I donate my hair to Wigs for Kids that have cancer and burn victims and that sort of thing, so that they can make wigs and have hair. And it's something that's always been. It's been very important for myself and my family. My wife Karen passed away from cancer in 2007, and she she wanted to have a wig, and so it was always something that I've felt strongly about doing. So I cut my hair every 3 years, 4 years, and donate it. And what's cool is I can officially say I have donated now over the last 25 years, 22 years. I've donated like 8 feet of hair. I'm like
That's a lot of hair.
I'm like Rapunzel, baby. Or
Have
Chewbacca.
you read any good books lately?
I have not read. I'm trying to think what the last. The last book I read stunk, and I can't remember the name of it. I didn't like it so much. I just hated it. It was a fantasy book. No, I haven't read any good books lately. Sorry.
When it comes to choices of music, do you listen to EDM?
No. I don't know who EDM is, or is that?
Oh no, it's a genre.
platform.
It's kind of like electronic music.
Oh, I do like if it's like chill, down tempo type stuff.
Yeah.
Is it like that?
Yeah, like I've heard you listen to like certain like
telepop music and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that.
There's a particular.
It's a good mood music for me.
There's a particular genre I think you would really dig when it comes to like the electric style, and it's called chill step.
Yeah.
Where there's the dubstep where it's like more intense.
Yeah.
Like the big bug scene in Wreck-It Ralph when he first goes into the first-person shooter area.
Yeah.
That's dubstep.
Right.
Chill step is more.
I know what
laid
dubstep
back
is.
Version of dubstep.
Gotcha.
It's very laid back. I think you would really dig it. Why Mac, not PC? It costs a lot.
Because I've always been a Mac guy. Macs for me are more dependable, in my experience, and I don't mind paying the extra bits. And I've just always been a Mac guy. I've actually never owned a PC ever.
I've been trying to talk him into a PC.
I will never switch. I'm a faithful Mac guy.
I did almost tempt you once. I almost did. We actually had a big conversation between the two, but we'll say that for another time. Do you listen to Disney music?
No.
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 Not even one.
No, not even one.
I love listening to Disney music. So
I know.
much
I mean,
nostalgia to it.
you got to remember, I helped make those movies, and so I heard that stuff a lot.
True.
Yeah.
Any tips on drawing loose? Like
Yeah, draw from your shoulder. Try to draw from your shoulder as much as you can. Don't get think about drawing shapes rather than drawing details. When I started this, I started just drawing. First of all, I had the bag to start as my shape right here. I've moved it. Oh, shoot.
Oh no.
Oh no, I don't need that anymore.
Oh, what the heck?
There we go. Starting with that. So that was already kind of my loose drawing, but I always start just thinking about shape and form the other tip, if you're drawing digitally, use a fat brush. Don't use the thin brush. And you'll notice my brushes get thinner and thinner as I get more detailed.
What animation software would you recommend for beginners?
TV Paint. If it's something you want to do, I really recommend TV Paint. This is... Whoops, I clicked on the wrong button. This is TV Paint right here. This is the animation software that I use. This is that little hummingbird shot that I was... that's the sound of dusting opening an Oreo bag, by the way. Eating Oreos.
You want an Oreo?
But I love it. I really love it because for me, with the drawing, this is the closest I've been able to find to the way it feels to draw on paper, and then the ability to instantly play back, and I don't know. For me, it's just really user friendly. There's Toon Boom and other bits of software out there, but for me, TV Paint has just been great, and I use it all the time. Let me see if I can open. Here's another one. This is a shot. This is the snow bear shot that we haven't finished yet because I've been sidetracked with Asia. But this is another little shot that I'm working on, trying to get the color right and adding some shadows and stuff.
How much does the software cost?
I think TV Paint runs about $700, so it's not cheap, but you get what you pay for. It's a wonderful bit of software, and if you're a student, you can get it cheaper. And at the risk of sounding like I'm promoting myself, if you get a membership to my website, we actually have a partnership with TV Paint. And I'm not promoting them because I have a partnership. I'm promoting them because I love their product. But we do have a partnership with them, and you can get a 30% discount on the purchase if you've bought a membership to our website. So that 30% savings that you get from the purchase of the software actually pays for the fee for my membership. So it works pretty well together.
Is there a trial version of TV Paint that you can try out, like a demo version?
I think there is. I'm not positive, but go look them up. Just Google them, TV Paint Animation. Go to their website and check them out. They're great, and you can do anything. You can make an entire feature in TV Paint. Matter of fact, Song of the Sea, the animated movie Song of the Sea, was all done in TV Paint. So there you go.
Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if Bat Metal was done TV Paint.
Yeah, Bat Metal. So let's.
You spell that right, Bat Metal. You haven't? I thought I told it to you.
Maybe.
Sorry, I'm eating.
Yeah.
I thought I showed it to you, Bat Metal.
Such a goof. Maybe you did. I want to go dark on his skin, I think. I'm going to go dark on his skin, just like the bag. That's one of the things that inspired me. I'm going to put a layer underneath. Is the darkness of that bag. I thought it was kind of cool to get the glistening.
Looks a lot like a creature from Star Wars.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. I'll take that as a complimento.
You should. Oh, Batman was in Flash. Somebody corrected me. My bad.
There we go.
Do you have any tips in line weight and making the lines more appealing?
Yeah, I vary my line weight all the time. It just comes with experience. Uh, the more important lines, I tend to give a little bit more weight. I also try to, especially when I'm using line to shade, I follow form. Try to follow the form as often as you can. You can see in the way I'm doing that here. So you're even in the line drawing, your character has form. Okay, I'm gonna let that go out. I want to maybe go into play compliments. Let's play compliments here.
Are you thinking of coming to the Middle East as a tour?
I don't have anything set yet, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We've been traveling so much. If I'm doing it, usually if I'm doing international stuff, it's somebody has hired me. It's like the last thing that I just did in Asia. Somebody has hired me. The Dulwich School hired me to come out and teach, and so that's what happened there. So if there was a company from the Middle East that wanted to bring me out, then yeah, we would definitely look at doing that for sure, or a school.
Is there any methods you use when choosing characters' colors?
Um, you know what? To me, it's all about what's appealing. Like in this case, I'm just trying to play complements. This is kind of a blue purple, so I'm going up with an orange. I'm just experimenting. A lot of times I start with a basic knowledge of color and what I want, but here in this case I'm just experimenting.
So you prefer TV Paint instead of Toon Boom Harmony for animation?
Yes. Yep. I knew that was going to come up. That always comes up.
Yep. It's just that TV Paint has more stuff to use? Or?
For me, it's all I've ever used, and it's the support staff is fantastic, and I really like the company. I like the people, and I've never had any other issue with it. So I'm actually putting a layer over the top right now, doing this orange, a different layer. So yeah, so that's for me. It's just it. If I find something I like, I stick with it, and so that's how it's been with TV Paint for me. My brother Travis, who's also an animator and story artist and all around good guy, um, he is in love with TV Paint and does a lot of stuff with it, and he's a guru. He's really smart with TV Paint.
How were your days in Korea?
My days in Korea were great. I was only in Korea for 4 days, but I really enjoyed Korea a lot, and I loved the food.
Ever tried your hand at drawing Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I can't. You can't work for Disney for 21 years and not draw Mickey. I've never been good at drawing Mickey, but yeah, I've drawn Mickey quite a few times. This is kind of fun. I'm having a good time, kind of figuring this guy out.
Do you ever see the feature the Illusionist?
Yes, the live action film.
No, the
The
Sun.
animated one. Yeah, I haven't seen it all the way through. I've seen clips. Yeah.
I personally never saw it all the way through, but
The animation is amazing. Is
yeah, it
incredible.
looks great. It reminds me a lot of the Triplets of Belleville.
Exactly. I think it's the same company. I could be wrong. Someone out there correct me if I'm wrong.
So what are you going to call this big guy? This dragon?
I don't know. I'm not
Bob.
sure. Bob. His name is Kevin.
Kevin.
Seth.
Mm.
Let's go with this. A little grayer. Oops. Gosh darn it.
Was it difficult for you to transfer from traditional drawing to digital?
No. And let me tell you why. I started working almost right away on a Cintiq. And working on a Cintiq, it was like night. Yeah, it was just magic. It's like I'm just drawing on a piece of paper, in a way. There we go. That's kind of cool. Let that all kind of be dried.
Do you have some sketches from your Asia tour you can show?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Is it these?
By the way, have you
Oh
seen
no, that's not them.
have you seen Ferdinand?
Yes, I did see Ferdinand. I loved it. Hold on one second. I'm thinking. See, I never keep track of my sketchbooks. Hold on.
They're everywhere.
They are. My sketchbooks are everywhere. What did I do with that?
I think it's somewhere over that rainbow. Way, way up high.
What the heck?
Did you take it upstairs?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I did with it. Well, I'm not sure where I. Oh, I think I put it up here. There we go. This one. Not that one.
Have you ever tried airbrushing before?
Yes, I'm terrible at it. I'm a terrible airbrush artist. So, my first morning, this is terrible, but it's just sitting in my hotel room looking out at the airport. And then my next day, I went up to the Great Wall and I sat inside one of the turrets and I looked outside and I sketched the Great Wall. That was really cool. Because I'd worked on Mulan and I animated the beginning of Mulan as well, where the Huns are attacking, and all the I'd animated the guards that were standing guard, and now all of China knows you're here and all that stuff. And it was really cool because when I got onto the Great Wall, I'd never been there. When I got onto the Great Wall, it felt like I stepped right into the set of Mulan, of the shots that I animated. It was really cool. There's a lot of little stray dogs there, so I was sketching the little stray dogs around the wall. They're really cool. Here's another one. Strays in China are very different than strays in the rest of the world. They're very short, little squat dogs. It was kind of cool. Let's see. This is the Lama Temple right here. Sketch that I did in Beijing. And that's just ballpoint pen with white gel pen over the top. And then this is a place called the Hutongs, which is basically the old neighborhoods of Beijing. So I would just go and sit in the alley and do these sketches of the alleyway. And this is in Shanghai, looking at the skyline of Shanghai.
Quick question: what materials do you use for all these sketches?
I use, first of all, this is toned gray Strathmore paper. that's the pad that I use. And then usually it's just a ballpoint pen, black ballpoint pen. A Bic is fine. Sometimes I'll use a brush pen. And then I use a white Jelly Roll pen. Here's another shot of Shanghai downtown. Yeah, and then I have a big fat white marker as well, Faber-Castell. And this was sitting in my room just doing some character sketching. And sometimes I'll just get a few lines down and, I don't get to finish. I'll just move on. So, my sketchbooks are they're not always finished either. Sometimes they're just quick little ideas, like so. And let's see what else I've got here. And this little guy, the quick little sketches, just, ideas. And then this one, sat and drew peacocks. Bunch of peacocks. That was kind of fun.
Do you use a ruler to do those buildings?
No.
No?
No rulers. Just straight up drawing careful.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. All right. Back to our creature. All right. So I'm going to go underneath here. Here, I want to go kind of red. I want to, let's see here. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to lock it in there, and I'm going to grab my big brush right there. There we go.
How much time did you spend on those sketches?
The sketches usually are about, they can be anywhere from 20 minutes to about an hour. There we go. I wanted to give them a little red gullet.
Do you suggest going to art school if you're a student or just having drawing as a hobby?
What? I'm not following.
I think, would you rather, I think he's asking, would you rather go to an art school to learn or learn on your own as a hobby?
Some kind of formal training I think is always needed. Just because there's so much more to art than just drawing something that looks real. Okay?
Oh, sorry.
And, there we go. Thank you. And so there's the red that I just added. And you got to pay attention to those cameras, Dustin. But
It's a new habit.
It's okay. And I really recommend some kind of formal training. Now, it doesn't have to be college, because I think colleges are obscenely expensive now. There's so much training that you can find online nowadays that I think is really strong. And so that's always an option. What am I going too much? I think maybe I'm going too much. I wanted that nice solid dark head. There we go. There's a little bit of something there. And then I'm going to come up here. There we go. And let's do some red feathers for the plumes. Yes? Sorry about that, folks.
Phone call.
Is that Travis? That's Travis Blaise, by the way. My brother. Travis Blaise. You're interrupting my live stream. I'm live right now on YouTube.
I'm on speaker.
So I'm going to hang up. You can tune over to YouTube, and I will see you there. Bye.
I heard that. I love your hummingbird.
There we go. Well, those plumes are kind of cool. I like seeing them red against that dark. So right now I'm just laying in local color. Basically, it's just like I'm coloring in like I'm coloring book, and then I start adding shadow and light and that sort of thing.
Would you consider your courses a good formal training option, or do you recommend having a teacher you interact with?
I think, to be honest with you, and I'm not just trying to sell my stuff, I sell everything so cheap that to not have it, I think is, I sell my courses, the entire course, my entire animation course, which is over 20 videos, it's like $60. I'd sell everything super cheap because I want to be able to sell to the masses. I think they're really great options. I personally, if I'm stepping out of myself, I would have them along with other training. But I think that you'll learn a lot. I've had a lot of people come up to me afterwards saying, how much they learned just from the courses themselves. So that makes me happy. I like hearing that. I really don't like that orange color down on his body. I'll fix that later. Let's fix that later because I'm going to do my typical shadow coming across him and all that stuff. Let's, do we want a dark eye? If we go with a dark eye.
Would it be smart to include your classes in a resume?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. It depends on if the school is familiar with me. There's some schools are, some schools aren't. I don't know that, a resume is not going to say much if you're looking for an art job. Resumes are great, but it really comes down to whether or not you can do the job, if you have the artistic ability. So, there's that. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to do these as little markings. There we go. Kind of like that. Dig that. I dig it.
Could you at some point do a class on portfolios?
Yes, actually, I did one. I did a video. It's buried deep in my library of videos on YouTube. But I did one on what we look for in a portfolio. I did that probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's way buried deep, but if you dig deep enough, you'll find it. But we'll do another one. There we go. Kind of dig that. I'm not liking this at all.
Which part?
The orange feathers. I'm going to do cancel, select. I'm going to do color range. And I'm going to turn off the drawings. Whoops, let me do this. Turn off the drawing layer. There we go. Select color range. There. And there. 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 And hit OK. So now that's all selected. Now I'm going to copy that just in case. You're awfully quiet.
I'm just I'm feeling that that drawing, like the color wise, feels like a chicken body again because of the coloring.
Well, we'll see.
All right, when
Ah,
animating,
I did that. I forgot I did that.
hmm,
I did that.
when animating, do you use the fill-in tool or just color in your drawings? Which do you prefer?
Oh, I'll use both. I'll use both. It really depends on it depends on how clean the drawings are and all that sort of thing. But I'll do both. I want to go dark here, see what it looks like. Let's
Are
see.
you uploading your work as JPEGs on your site?
Yes, yes. On my website, I haven't in a while. I like having the dark feathers. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I like the dark feathers a lot better. That feels a lot better. Now we can move on.
Me likey.
Me likey, yes. Now I think I want to do an eye that's got more of a pupil in it. Let's go with a blue. We want to go with a blue eye or a red eye or an amber eye. You're awfully quiet over there, Dustin.
There hasn't been a new. Oh, here's a new one. Um, what would you title yourself as art-wise? Concept artist, maybe?
You know what? I wouldn't title myself. I don't know. Because I'm not really a concept artist. I mean, I do concept art. I'm also a director. I'm also a character designer. I'm also a teacher. It's whatever I'm doing at the time, I think. Really.
What do studios like seeing in storyboarding portfolios?
Storyboards. And I'm not trying to be funny. Storyboards. If you're putting together a storyboard portfolio, put together several scenes, a beginning, middle, and end. Change of ideas. What happens in a scene? Something has to happen. When you're writing for story, a sequence or scene, there's always a turn. It always turns from positive to negative or negative to positive. There's always a turn somewhere in there. It doesn't have to be huge, but we want to see what that turn might be. Look for, they're going to look for originality. How did you solve the issues? How do you solve the problems? The clarity of your camera work, the clarity of your posing, your acting. All those are all the things I look for when I'm looking at a portfolio.
We have a few suggestions on the eye color. One person suggests green, and another is saying red.
Those are opposite colors, people. So let's do
I'm
this.
personally leaning for the green.
Let's do this. Since those are the two suggestions, let's do this.
What's the rotoscope technique?
Rotoscoping is basically just tracing over live action.
Mm-hmm.
So you shoot it in live action, and and then you trace over it. Now it depends. The amount of tracing you do is dependent upon.
The complexity of the shot.
Yeah, I mean you can make it more original. How about this? I'm going to do both. I'm going to make this work.
What do you like more, animation or concept art?
Neither one. I love them both. Depends on my mood. It really does.
How do you animate camera movement?
That's hard. Animating camera moves is so hard because you're really animating the entire environment moving, right? Yeah, and it's all about animating the perspective changes. That's what you're doing. You're animating perspective change. So there we go. That's not a bad eye. That's not a bad eye. Now let's do this. I'll set that to multiply. let's see. Which way I want the light direction to come from. I have the light direction kind of coming over our right shoulder and slightly behind him. So this is all going to kind of go into shadow here. Let's do that, yes.
Somebody says that Ralph Bakshi and Don Bluth did a lot of rotoscoping.
They did.
They did?
Oh yeah, lots of rotoscoping. But so did Disney. I mean, if you look at if you look at the Jungle Book, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, you know, the ballroom dancing, all that stuff was rotoscoped, and then reused later on in other films. But like I said, you can take that rotoscoping and then you know, make it unique. You can work animation into it. Use it as just a starting point.
I always thought of rotoscoping as a visual effects tool more than an animation tool.
Yeah, no, it's an animation tool as well. Where you know we can go in and shoot shoot video, and then you can trace right over the top of it. A classic version of rotoscoping, Dustin, is that Aha video, Take on Me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all rotoscoped.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that was all shot in live action first.
Well, there's also that classic fantasy movie Fire and Ice.
Yes, exactly. All rotoscoped.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's all, and which was Frank Frazetta.
Like I figured like they just like made like all the camera moves and just simply like looked and drew, but not like drew over.
No, there's all different variations of how you can do it. You know, I've used live action in exactly the same way you're talking about. There's a scene in Aladdin that I animated Jasmine where she gets up from her dresser. She's been combing her hair. And she goes, "Oh, Father, I had the most wonderful time or magical evening," or whatever. I can't remember what she says. And she twirls around. Mm-hmm. And I was having a hard time animating it out of my head. And so we had live action reference. And so I went in and we looked at what we shot. And what I did was, rather than draw over the top of it, I just looked at those key frames and I sketched them, and then used that as my base. So in a sense, it wasn't straight up rotoscoping, but I used live action reference. So there's different degrees that you can use that live action. So here I'm trying to get the lighting. I'm thinking about the form of this jaw.
What was one of the biggest realizations while getting into the industry when you first emerged?
Oh, that's a really broad question. That's a tough one. My biggest realization.
And what was it what is it you realized when you crossed that line?
I think for me it was just the light bulb that went off as far as how to do animation. There was this light bulb of all of a sudden I was able to see the movement and see, and then once I was able to do that, it freed me up to really start thinking about the acting. I would get so hung up about the movement, I would forget the acting, and the acting's the most important part. And that was early on, maybe when I was still an intern. And once you can kind of get that under your belt, then it really frees you up creatively. You're not thinking about how something's going to move. You just move it. Now you're thinking about the emotion. What's the emotion I'm trying to get across? Because remember, animating isn't, moving stuff. Animating is bringing stuff to life, right? And so that was the big hurdle for me, is when I was able to think about not how something moved, but how something felt. the emotion that it was feeling.
If there's a particular style of designing you like, how do you adopt it?
I'll just study it and copy it all straight up, just straight up copy it, and you know, you'll learn. That's why in college we used to copy old masters' paintings, to understand what it is that they did, the way that they saw. You know, look at John Singer Sargent, one of my favorite painters. We'd sit down and copy one of his paintings. They would look terrible because no one can paint like him, but man, I learned a lot.
Do you have a favorite part of a drawing process, such as like sketching or coloring or shading or any of the others?
They all have their place for me. I really love the initial exploration when something finally starts to gel, like what we did here in the initial exploration stage. That's a lot of fun. So I'm just adding shadows right now, texture to the wings. And you notice too, I'm staying very loose. Loose as a goose, baby. Loose. Thinking about that light source, where it's coming from, the shadows that are going to be cast. There we go. So now I'm going to do another layer, set it to overlay, and I'm going to make that my, it's going to create some highlights.
Do you think it's bad using airbrush for shading? I used to use it, but multiple people told me it's bad to do so.
Well, it's not bad to do anything. It really depends on what's the look that you're going for. And if you're looking for a soft look, then yeah, sure, maybe that's what you're looking for. I think what people are trying to tell you is that if you're doing it as a crutch, then yeah, it's a bad habit. But I mean, airbrush is a tool like anything else, and it can be used properly or improperly. So I mean, don't let people tell you what this or that is bad. It really depends on what it is you're trying to do.
How do you move your brush? Is it more of a back and forth motion, or do you lift your stylus a lot?
It varies. I don't know. I don't even think about it. I'm not sure. That's a tough one. I use my stylus in the same way that I would use a pencil and a brush, kind of combined.
Let me switch to
Sure.
to show your motion.
You can zoom in on it if you want. Jump up here, get a little brighter with everything. So you'll notice I move very quickly. I try to keep everything really loose.
Is there a particular artist who inspired or still inspires you and wished other people knew or talked more about more?
Yeah, I mean, animation-wise, there's always Glenn Keane. People hear me talking about him all the time. And Glenn still inspires me. He'll always inspire me. Just as a human being, he inspires me. But there's a lot of artists out there that people, just aren't aware of that I really love. One guy in particular. I think I've talked about him before. Where's my Bill Berry? This is a guy that not a lot of people know about.
Do you calibrate your pen?
No. Oh yeah, I mean I get it's calibrated, but this book right here, I don't even know if you can find it. It's William D. Barry, and he was a guy. These were done back in the 50s, but it's just I'm a huge fan of sketchbooks, and so this is over 3 years living in out in the outback up in Alaska, and all the sketches he did. There's thousands of them, thousands, and they're so well observed. These little illustrations. They're absolutely just beautiful, stunning little sketches. And he's one of my. I love this one. Simple, very simple. I've been to, I've spent a lot of time up in the tundra in Alaska, and it just looks exactly like that. And they're just beautiful, tiny little sketches. Yeah, so William D. Barry, I really recommend looking him up, especially if you're someone that wants to sketch outdoors and sketch from life. Let's put a background in here. Let's go a little warm with it. I think I'm going to go warm, kind of grayish, somewhat dark. Whoa.
What kind of camera do you have mounted on your Cintiq?
That's weird. My camera froze up. What kind of camera? Oh, it's just a Logitech, right? Yeah, Logitech. How you doing, Dustin?
I'm doing good. What should I do when I want to create something, but I don't have any idea what to do?
You know what my technique for that is I'll just start doodling. I'll just start drawing and doodling and drawing and doodling, and eventually something emerges. So here I've got this great texture brush that I use that I got from a good friend of mine. I'm going to go even darker, maybe a little cooler.
I noticed Aaron colors his stuff with very saturated colors. I was curious of the thoughts behind that choice.
I just like color. It's just a personal choice. I really like color a lot.
What tool do you use when shading?
I use my regular brush, but I set the blend mode to multiply.
By the way, is this the 32-inch Cintiq?
No, this is not the 32-inch. This is a 27-inch.
They want to get 32.
Yeah, you've heard me say that. It's just
27. But somebody else was asking. Somebody new.
Ah, gotcha. Do a little shadow across here. Here, a little hanga. There we go. Maybe we do that down here.
Do you have any good advice for the value blocking?
You know what? Think of your values. There we go. Think of your values as shapes as well, graphic shapes. So I'm always looking at the abstract design of whatever it is that I'm doing, and the value blocking creates that. Also, you want to think about where do you want the center of interest. In this case, I want you looking at the head because it's basically just a concept piece right now. So I'm putting all of this into shadow. Its whole body down into shadow. Just like this.
What software are you using to live stream right now?
Oh, is that OBS, Dustin?
That is OBS. It stands for Open Broadcast Software. And we're also using a new piece of hardware that we got the other week, but we haven't used it on YouTube yet. And it's called a Stream Deck, and we're able to go from one camera angle to another with extra fluidity.
Yeah, it's been great. There we go. So I'm getting a nice little, going and hitting some darker areas in here. I'm getting a nice light pattern going. I'm going to add that. One of the things that you'll know that I always do, especially for concept work, because it helps me just for the lighting. I like to add a secondary light. It's just something I've always done. In this case, I'm going to keep it somewhat muted.
Are there any benefits to making your own textures for the brushes? Are you able to use default brushes? Oh, wow, there's a lot. Are you able to use default brushes and still create the same effects you're wanting?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do. I create a lot of brushes. There's a lot in the default brush sets, so don't get me wrong. There we go with that a little bit. But I do find that I like to create different textured brushes to do different things for me. I like dry brushes, that sort of thing. Things that are going to give me more traditional looking images and experiences as I'm trying to paint. But also, here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and paint at the same time. Specialty brushes like water brushes and things like that I've created are also a lot of fun.
What do you think about the rule of thirds? How often do you keep it in mind when drawing?
Every time. I always use rule of thirds. And it's funny, you may not realize it, but as humans, we kind of automatically fall to that. But I really use it all the time. And if you look at his eye line, his eye is right on the third. As a matter of fact, if I set up my crop tool, look at that. His eye is literally on the third. Now I didn't even try to do that. You just automatically end up there. As we just tend to. It's just something that feels comfortable for us. So I'm adding this secondary light that it helps describe texture a little bit more, helps describe form a little bit better. Ah. I knock that opacity back a little bit, just so I have a little more control over it.
Will you be live streaming your illustrations for the new Lion King?
No, that I can't do. Sorry, folks. I can't show any of the new illustrations until they come out in the book. That's all confidential Disney stuff. So that you won't be able to see those until the book comes out. Unfortunately. So you can see the effect that adding that secondary light gives. I like it. It's kind of a fun effect that it gives. Just really got to think about where that lighting is going to be hitting. Someone's laughing? You're laughing
No, it's just, it's a genuine question. It was just, they added an extra word that made it rather silly. When animating, do you fully sketch the animation fully first?
Do I say it again?
When animating, do you fully sketch the animation first?
When animating, do I fully sketch the animation
first?
I'm not sure what you're asking. You have to sketch the animation.
I think what it means is, do you just sketch out the animation, or do you fine detail each and every?
Oh, I don't tie it down. I scribble it out first, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, a lot of times. I've tightened up as I've gotten older. I've tightened up quite a bit. In my in my animation. I'm not as loose as I used to be. I don't know if that's good or not, but I definitely do a rough approach first, especially with something that might be a little complex.
Do you take any courses to continue your learning?
Not as much as I should probably. Um, there's people that I definitely look at and emulate, and I am definitely influenced by them. Here, I'm just lightly hitting some of these feathers.
Any tips on how to draw wrinkles?
Wrinkles are just like anything else. Like you can see right here, I'm drawing wrinkles. Wrinkles have form just like anything else, and so there's going to be a light area, dark area. It really comes down to defining the feature, the values, right? You've got to find the right values. And real quick here, let me finish this.
Have you ever met Richard Williams?
I haven't. I have not. I worked with his son, Alex, for years and years, but I never met his dad. Um, so real quick, here is these wrinkles here. Obviously, there's a light side and a dark side to create the form. And then, there, I'm going to set this to multiply because, what am I doing? I'm over here. There's going to be areas that are even darker. Deep within the valley of the wrinkle, you'll get even darker areas.
All right, is the new Lion King book your first association with Disney since you originally left the company?
It might be, actually. Yeah, it is. So here I'm deepening some of the wrinkles in here.
What do you think is the most important thing to think about when you're animating a shot with an advanced perspective?
Most important thing to think about when you're animating a shot with an advanced perspective.
Yes.
I'm not sure I understand your question. I'm very sorry.
Like, is there any particular movements or anything you need to be
Well,
of?
for me, it always comes down to what is your shot? Is it heavy on the acting? Is it action? For me, it's just about honesty getting into your shots. The mechanical stuff you can figure out. The mechanical stuff you can always figure out. It's just what are you trying to get across, and what's the most creative way you can get it across. How creative can you be?
We have a few newcomers in here, and they're wondering exactly what we're working on right now.
Okay, so there's this creature that we started with that we're making, and it really started with I was talking about where does inspiration come from, and I shot this photo last night. I'm building a bar in my backyard, and my chop saw I had covered up with a plastic bag, and I was sitting there having a little vodka drink, and I was looking at it across the yard, and I said, "Oh my gosh, look at that! It looks like a creature's head." So I went over and I took a photograph of it and decided, I thought, why don't we use that as inspiration for our live stream today? And so that's what I did here. So I'm trying to emphasize the idea of being able to find really inspiration anywhere. Just keep your eyes open. And so that's what this is me trying to kind of take this and use that as inspiration for this creature that we're doing here. That's what it is.
I feel like for a Facebook post, you should do a transition image, where it's you have the picture of the trash bag, and then the trash bag with lower opacity right over.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And then the final product.
That's a great idea. Me like it.
I really like it.
Now I'm gonna start using my dry brush to get a little texture in here.
What's your thought on whiskey?
You know, I'm not a whiskey drinker. I don't like colored liquors.
You're more of a tequila guy.
No, no. But you can see if I blow this up, you can see I've got some nice textures on this brush. It's a dry brush texture that I've created.
Any tips on drawing fur?
Yeah, think of fur not as individual hairs, but clumps of hairs that make up shapes. Draw the shapes, and then you'll be okay. Think of it as shapes. There.
Any tips on setting up timing before you animate?
You know, I don't. Timing is part of the animation, so I don't set up timing before I animate. At least in the way that I animate in 2D. I have to get the drawings down before I can work out my timing. But you know, I think of timing. I think of timing in the way that I think of music. I always try to get what's called texture in my timing, and what I mean by that is I want. Sorry, I'm going to go a little warmer here. I don't want everything to be even in the timing. Even timing is the kiss of death. You know, if you think about it like music, if music is very even, it becomes very boring. And so, if you think about your animation in that same way, you have fast parts and slow parts. It's almost like the visual design. Visual design has quiet places. You know, good visual design has quiet places and places to explore, and you know, there's a lot of variety, and so that's what you want in your timing. You want your timing to be realistic, you know, or believable, I should say. It doesn't have to be realistic, but it has to be believable, and it's got to have some texture to it. Oops.
Any suggestions for lighting a creature in the sky where there aren't any hard shadows?
So it's soft light. It's ambient light. That's tough. You know, there's always light being bounced around somewhere, and there's always places where the light isn't reaching. And so, you know, that's where you're going to have to really kind of decide what it is that you're going to do. Look at reference. That's another. So what I'm doing here is I want a little texture.
Do you do Marvel or DC drawing?
No. I don't do any comic book drawing. It's just not my wheelhouse.
It's not your style.
It's not my style, man. I like it. It's just not something I do. I want him to be a little glistening. I'm gonna go really bright with this.
Any tips on drawing something that is glowing so that it's kind of its own light source?
Well, once again, it's really thinking about a light source. So if the thing is glowing, if that's the light source, then the way you get the sense that it's glowing is everything else around it is reacting to that light, and so that's how you get the sense of light on something that is glowing. It affects everything else around it.
And when it comes to the comic book universe, are you a Marvel or more of a DC fan?
To me, I don't know. I'm just not. I'm not a comic book guy. I never have been. I mean, I like the Marvel movies better than the DC movies, if that means anything. But I'm just not. It's not something I've ever been interested in. That's just my own personal taste. It's not that I don't like it. I actually really dig it. When I was a kid, I did buy a few comic books here and there, but it was never about the stories. I never read them. I just bought them for the artwork, and then I tried to copy them. I didn't know the characters or anything like that.
Sorry if this is a reoccurring question, but where do you come up with new ideas for each character drawing?
You know, it's really just what's inspiring me at the time.
Like this trash bag.
Yeah, like this trash bag. It's just I don't know. Sometimes it's just a pleasing shape. Sometimes it's the color. It could be any number of things. I want to go a little cooler, a little brighter. So right now what I'm doing is I'm creating some bounced light, reflected light underneath. Whoops. Underneath
Have you
this
ever
character.
read Calvin and Hobbes comic strips?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Love Calvin and Hobbes.
What's the ideal canvas size you should be using digitally when painting? And is having textured brushes a must-have to make a painting pop out or more appealing?
Once again, it just depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. There's no ideal size because I don't know what you're drawing for. I don't know what your aspect ratio is going to be. So to me, there's no ideal size. But just have the brushes. What makes a painting pop is the design and the the way you've rendered it. And I'm sorry, not the way you've rendered it, but the way you've captured an idea or story, in a single image. In this case, I'm just trying to create visual interest. There we go.
When you illustrate the book for the Lion King movie, will you use your own style, or did Disney already tell you to design the characters like in the movie?
No, this is actually one of the reasons I'm doing the job because it's so cool. They want me to do it in my own style, which is a real cool honor for me. So they want me to use my own style and have fun with it. So that's what I plan on doing.
What is actually the difference between CMYK and RGB? And can you draw something that will be printed in RGB?
Well, CMYK is for printing. RGB is digital. Or is your television, your screen. I believe. I think that's how it works. I could be wrong. There we go. Try to keep this interest going in here. All this reflected light.
When shading an animal with thick fur, what tool do you use and how do you make the fur pop out?
I just paint. I just use a brush and I paint shapes. Let me show you this. I tend to paint loosely, so you got to take this with a grain of salt. But where is it? My lion croc. Right here. So here's a painting I did the other day of this lion facing off with this crocodile. Here's the fur. You'll notice I don't get hung up on individual hairs. I use them for accents here and there. You can see that there's some accents, but most of the time I'm just painting really big shapes. You know, just big shapes and textures. And making sure I'm thinking about the light falling on the form of the shapes that I'm creating. And then I just throw in a couple little hairs to add accent where I think the eye needs it. And it helps fill, you know, your brain fills in the rest. Okay? So that's what I think about when I'm doing, you know, thick fur like this mane.
Can you explain the timing charts on keyframe drawings?
Yes. So timing charts work like this. If I have, let me jump to. I'm going crazy. That was like completely out of left field. So I'm got to change my brain. Sorry, it's not about you. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so let's say I've got a drawing. Blah 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 blah. There's my drawing. And then I got another drawing later on, and I've tried to tell somebody how many drawings go in between and where they fall. Okay? So if I'm going to tell somebody, I'm going to go up to the corner. Let's say this is drawing 1, and then there's also going to be a drawing 1, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. But maybe the next key drawing is drawing, let's say, drawing 9. Okay? So I'm going to do a chart right here like this. And I'm going to go, there's 9. Okay? Now, the people, the in-betweeners need to know where the drawings fall between drawing 1 and 9. So let's say I just want everything to be even. Well, in that case, I would go drawing 5, would go here, and that indicates evenness. And then I would go drawing 3, like so, and 7, like that. Indicates another even set. And then if I'm on 1s, I would do this, and that would be my last few drawings. Let's say, though, I have what's called a slow out, where I want the drawings closer. It's starting out slow and speeding up. Well, in that case, I might have drawing 8. Or no, let's do it this way. I might have drawing 7 right here. And then I've got drawing 5 right here. Then I've got drawing 3 right here. Okay? So that's a slow out. They're progressively further and further apart as we go in. Maybe I have a slow in and a slow out. Now, I would never have it between just 8 frames, but if I had, let's say, drawing 1 and drawing 35, something in there. Let's say this is drawing 19. Those would be even, and then everything else would progressively get closer like that. And the in-betweeners would know to do that as a slow out and a slow in. There's a lot of different ways to chart. Let's say I have a drawing 1 and a drawing 7 now. So now that's not even, and so I have to do what's called thirds. So if I want it to be even, I would do here and here. This would be drawing 3, drawing 5, and then that would indicate to the next artist that it's on thirds. So there's a lot of different ways of charting. It's really just indicating to the person down the line how you want those drawings to fall in between the key drawings that you've created. There we go. And we're coming up on 2 hours that we've been on this, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I want to start adding a little bit of texture to this guy as well. Have I done anything on here yet? No. So let's go multiply. And I want to grab maybe a little bluish color. And I'm going to grab, I've got this great splatter brush. There it is. Where is it? Right here. I like this brush a lot.
What's the most challenging painting or picture you've ever drawn?
Oh, you know what? Every drawing is challenging. And I know that's like a cop-out answer, But they're all challenging, and to be honest with you, I don't remember. I draw every day, and I'm 50 years old. I've done literally tens of thousands of drawings. I don't remember them. I don't. I have fun with them in the moment, and then I forget about them. Half the time, I can't remember the drawing that I did 2 days ago. But they're always a challenge, all of them, and uh, so it's. Let me do this real quick. Overlay. See how that looks.
How do you do the focus of the camera in your drawings?
Oh, where I do the soft focus. I'm assuming that's what you're asking.
Sounds about right.
I'll show you when we get to that later on.
What do you think about graphic design?
Oh, graphic. That's a super broad question. Everything is graphic design. Even what I'm doing is graphic design. Now you're probably thinking about print and magazine and logo design and that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean that's really cool. My wife was a graphic designer. Yeah, that's a very broad question. So I'm going to break this up a little warmer. I'm going to do this. So I'm creating some texture in there that I'm liking. I want to get.
So there was a fat baby dragon 2 days ago. LOL.
Oh yeah.
Talking about the dragon the other week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What do you think about the animation workshop in Denmark?
I love the animation workshop in Denmark. I've been there. I actually gave their commencement speech a few years ago to the graduates. And I love it there. I really enjoyed hanging out there. I really like Denmark, actually.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go. I have a best friend that is living over there right now. I remember you saying you wanted to go to Norway and that you were planning to go there with a friend. I think it's a really inspiring environment with unique landscapes and natural phenomena.
I agree. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go this time. Matter of fact, I'm glad you reminded me because I have to get a hold of him.
Will you ever come to Toronto?
Toronto?
I've been to Toronto.
Canada?
Canada.
I think that's too exotic. That's too exotic for me. Yeah, it's too exotic for me. Yeah, of course I'll go to Toronto. I've gone up to Toronto in the past. So yes, I will make it to Toronto at some point in the future.
I think I'll know a few good spots that we can go to since I've lived there for 2 years now.
Yeah, Dustin lived there for 2 years. Yeah. Not liking that. There we go. Got a little light in there. Light. Camera. Action. Just doing a little bit of reflected light underneath. Actually, I might go with the blue.
How long does your big charcoal drawings usually take?
They usually take about 3 days, two and a half to 3 days.
Do you know any good animation schools in Germany?
I don't. I do not. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go bright with that. So now we're coming down to the. I'm just hitting. Sorry. I'm hitting some of, I'm hitting the final touches. Go ahead, Dustin. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Did you ever watch The Legend of Prince Valiant, the animated series from 1991?
No. Never seen it.
What's your favorite animated film? Bambi.
Bambi is definitely one of the top ones. I love Pinocchio. I love, love, love Iron Giant.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Those are movies that I will sit down. Pinocchio, Bambi. Um, uh, I think any of those I will always sit down and watch.
It's funny that I like all the years I watched Iron Giant, I didn't realize that Vin Diesel was the Iron Giant
Yeah.
until like 2 years ago. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know. And then once you know, and that's all you can hear.
That's all you can hear, yeah.
I know, it's pretty funny.
Like even in the Fast and Furious movies, anytime I watch that, I just hear in the back of my head,
Superman.
When is it better to animate in even halves, and when is it better to animate in thirds?
that that's a super broad question. It just depends on what your animation is requiring.
Like if it's like an action sequence.
Yeah, I mean, if I am timing my keys out, and they happen to fall onto sixes, then I'm going to have to in between them on thirds. It just yeah. That's a really broad question. I always avoid thirds if I can. I hate breaking down thirds. It's just annoying. I like everything to be even. So I try to time everything out on multiples of four. So 4, 8, 12. I always avoid sixes.
Why don't you make an oil painting tutorial?
I will. I'm going to. It'll happen. It's gonna happen. I promise. I haven't gotten to it yet. There we go. This is kind of cool. I'm digging that. Maybe give them a little texture up here.
Ever planning to go to the Netherlands? There are many people who would love to learn from you here.
I would love to. It's just, there's a million different things I'm trying to do and get done, and yeah, if we can work something out, I will definitely do that.
Like I said, I only found out Vin Diesel was Iron Giant now. Yep, he was the voice of Iron Giant.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of people did not realize. So I was like, wait, what? Iron Giant was Vin Diesel?
Yeah.
What?
He was.
If you watch it again, you'll hear it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you know that it's Vin Diesel, when you hear it, even though it's just super affected, that's all you'll hear is Vin Diesel.
Like I've watched plenty of animated features when I was little, and
He
then I
did.
would know the voices. Like I would know start watching like the other movies as I get older. But then when I rewatch the movies, like I see the credits, I'm like, wait, like Rasputin was voiced by Christopher Lloyd? What? Little things like that.
Uh-huh.
Would you ever consider drawing a kaiju? And what do you think of Pacific Rim's kaiju designs?
What's a kaiju?
Monster like Godzilla. It's Japanese for monster.
Oh, yeah. I think they're really cool. They're fun. I like drawing big scale stuff like that. So right now I'm thinking about the light and trying to add some texture and interest to these feathers.
Can you add some atmospheric dust or dots through the light?
Yep. Good idea. That's a good idea. Here we got a painting and a fun creature, all from looking at a plastic bag wrapped on a saw. See what I mean? You can find inspiration anywhere, people. Keep your eyes open. Always, always, always keep your eyes open. Keep your heart open. Keep your mind open. People will inspire you. Things will inspire you.
About Iron Giant. Joke's on you. I watch Iron Giant in Swedish. He's still only Iron Giant for me. What's interesting about that is, in Guardians of the Galaxy, Vin Diesel voices Groot, and he says, "I am Groot."
Oh, that's Vin Diesel?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Really? You
Yeah.
didn't know that?
No.
No, but yeah, Vin Diesel voices Groot. I am Groot. And now you'll know it when you hear it.
Yeah.
But apparently to make sure they maintain the right tonery or something like that, they made sure that Vin Diesel could say "I am Groot" in all the languages that they were releasing the movie in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
So in all the different languages and all the different versions of the movie, it's still Vin Diesel in all of them.
That's pretty awesome. I didn't know that.
Uh-oh. The stream died.
The stream died? It says stop streaming right there. It's still streaming.
I'm getting video unavailable.
I hope it comes back up on the same thing.
It should. Okay, we're back up.
Sorry, folks. We just kind of died there for a second. There, I'm just finishing this up. Anyway. That's kind of fun. That was fun. I'm going to add some better light here. Are we back up for sure?
We're back up.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I'm checking.
Oops.
Are you looking forward to seeing the Avengers Infinity War movie?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Got a message. I want to make sure that that's not Nick saying, "Hey, you guys went off."
Well, we're back on. I'm looking at the proof right here. What schools did you attend for your art career?
I went to the Ringling College of Art and Design. That was it. School's of hard knocks, baby.
Don't you feel lonely when doing art?
Nope. I feel my best when I'm doing art. I never feel lonely. So here I want to do some work over the eye. I'm going to have some fun with this. So I'm going to take the drawing. Where's my drawing layer? I've got too many layers going on. There it is. There's my drawing layer. And I'm going to erase that out. There we go. And I am going to have some warm light, kind of a warm blue. Let's use this brush. Where is it?
Any thoughts about self-learning when you do art?
Keep your mind open. Always keep your mind open.
Is it still fun for you watching your own movies?
Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to do that. No.
No.
No, not really. I've watched them 1,000,000,000,000,000 times, and uh, I don't I, I I what's nice for me when I'm looking at movies that I've worked on in the past is I don't watch them for the movie. I watch them for the memories of like my friends and things like that. And but sometimes it's a little painful. I mean, we had a really great run, and it was hard to let go. You know, when the studio went under, and when some of the hard times we've had. I just don't watch them as much. I don't watch them anymore. Go a little warmer, still, right about here, and then go very hot right there. There we go. I'm going to catch a little bit of light underneath the eye. Maybe a little bit in here. There we go.
Have you ever had days where you just felt like really burnt out?
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. But you just got to push through it. Just got to push through. But it does. It happens all the time.
So I said, bet you're gonna love watching your old movies with your grandbabies.
Yes, that part I do like. There. I think the eye's coming along there. There we go.
Do you know any of the Disney fine artists like Broadcast?
I don't. I do not. Whoops.
I would love to see you do a Basenji wolf or a fennec fox.
Okay.
I
I
hope I
will.
pronounced them right.
Yeah, you said fennec fox, right? The other wolf, I don't know. I don't know that wolf.
It's spelled Basenji. Basenji? Basenji? Oh,
So here,
there.
I'm just going in and hitting little bits of detail.
Have you ever drawn Godzilla or other monsters related in that particular size?
Godzilla. No, I haven't. I have not. This is fun. This is fun finishing this guy up here.
I can actually see this particular guy as a kaiju.
Yeah, I think so.
All you need is just a tiny little Eiffel Tower.
Right.
Or the Empire State Building, whichever country you want it to land on.
Or the Earth.
Or Earth. Yeah, just have like the planet Earth like just right next to him. It's just like, I'm gonna eat you. Get in my belly.
There we go.
Oh,
There's Achilles. For those of you that were asking me about my dog, this is Achilles right here. Hey, come here, Achilles. Come here. Oh, can you see him? There he is. Hi. Oh, stretch. Big stretch. Big stretch. Oh, yes. There you go. So I'm pretty much getting close to finishing on this guy here. I'm picking up a ballpoint pen. I don't know why I did that. Just finishing this up. Having some fun hitting some highlighted areas here on that reflected light. I think what I need to do in here is hit those with the overlay.
Do you think it's important for an artist to have a recognizable and personal style? My problem is I don't like to focus just on one style. Like, I like to experiment. Is that a problem?
No. If that's what you like to do, then that's what you like to do, man. Or woman, whatever the case may be. I don't know who you are. No, that's don't let style get in the way. I've never let style get in my way.
Like Tale.
That's that how I sounded?
Just that. Oh my god. Just do your own thing.
Oh, do whatever you want to do.
Have you made a character based off of your dog?
I have not. It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Great white buffalo. Great white buffalo.
What does it even mean?
Great white buffalo.
Have you been to Dubai?
I have not been to Dubai. I would love to go to Dubai, actually. If someone would like to Dubai me a ticket to go, I'd go. Oh, there we go. I'm just throwing in some random texture. There we go.
So every time I see Dubai, like with all the stuff they have there, including like the sport, their hyper car police cars, it's like, oh, I'm so poor. Who's the friendly voice reading out the questions?
That would be my offspring,
Hi.
Dustin Blaise. My boy, my son. My spawn.
Yeah, I'm the spawn of Satan.
Not liking that, so I'm going to go back in here.
If your animation seems to be sketchy, what would you do to fix it? Like if it's too
Tie it down.
tied down?
If it's too loose,
No.
yeah, tie it down. That's what you got to do. You got to tie that stuff down.
How do you organize your brushes in Photoshop? Or is there a way to do so?
There is a way, and first of all, I'm a slob by nature. So nothing in my world is organized. I'm horrible. So yeah, this is my brushes. These are just random brushes thrown together. There's nothing in there that's organized.
Is Dustin your only child?
No, Dustin is not my only child. I have a daughter named Austin, who is probably watching right now. I'll do an overlay.
And what do you mean by tie it down?
Tying it down means making it clean, cleaning up the lines.
I think your offspring is pretty fly for a white guy. Nice. What inspired you to work at Disney in the first place?
I needed a job.
I needed money.
No, I just thought it would be a really great job, so that's why I did it.
All artists are slobs. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I'm just finishing this up real quick. This was fun, you guys. Had a good time doing this with all of you.
Is Dustin an artist too? In my own way, not nowhere like this level, but I expand in other areas. I'm more of a singer than a drawer.
It's a lover, not a fighter.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I quoted from you. I need a job. Savage. How about some dust particles?
Yes, you read my mind. Whoever wrote that, because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna knock this background back.
Is Austin an artist too? She
yes.
does a lot of jewelry.
She does a lot of jewelry, and she's starting to draw more and more now, as well.
And she's really getting into watercolor.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we haven't done?
What?
Save.
Imagine we're storing right now. We had a power surge.
Bag. Plastic bag creature. Plastic bag creature. There we go. Call him that. That's kind of fun. And let's see. I'm going to flatten it. And I'm going to say file save as plastic bag creature flat. That way I still have my other version. And I'm going to mess around with this. We're going to get to the dust particles. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to play with the color. Let's play with that saturation a little bit. That feels better.
What if we named the dragon Tracan? Mixing the two words together, trash and can.
Oh, there you go. Tracan. You know what I didn't do is I didn't turn it around. That feels kind of cool. I think it needs a little bit of reflected light of the red on the body right here.
So we're doing hashtag save your damn work.
Thank you.
The sweet sound of saw in the background.
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah, I'm sure they heard it.
That's the sound of a bar being built.
So every time I hear that song, keep on thinking of like the cartoons or something where it's like, hold on 1 minute, and they go outside and all of a sudden just hear saws and everything going off for like a second. They're like, oh, here we go, and the bar's like all built up and everything.
There we go. I'm just adding a few touches that, you know, when I turn it around, reverse it, I always see something new. It's always a good habit to get into, I think. This was a fun creature to create today. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Which resolution do you usually work on these kinds of pieces?
300 DPI. So the dimensions on this are 20 inches by 20 inches, basically. And it's 300 DPI.
The creature looks like something from Avatar.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. I can see that.
All it needs is those like antennae things.
Yeah. All right, so let's I'm going to do a little bit of blurring.
Nolan Taylor, that would look That would look even more amazing with some moose antlers. We get it, you love moose. How's it going, eh?
It's pretty funny.
Does it matter if it's 8-bit or 16-bit?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know it well enough. I think obviously a 16-bit I think is going to be a heavier. It's going to be heavier. Let me push this a little bit more. I want to push that lower part into.
Well, back at working
Blur.
at Disney, which character did you enjoy animating the most?
I really enjoyed the Beast a lot. Animating the Beast, he was a lot of fun.
Was it because like it was your first big feature?
Yeah, well, he was just an interesting character to draw. But I also enjoyed my own characters, Nala and Raja and all of them. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab the airbrush setting, turn that off. And, I'm sorry. There we go. And I want to push I want to push the depth of field just a little bit. So the things that are receding, I'm going to push them out of focus a little bit. Like this other eye ridge over here. Push that right out of focus. So it feels like it's receding. This area here, under his neck, push that out. Same with over here. It just gives it all a little bit of interest, a little bit of depth. Some of these feathers I can push back. It'll feel like they're being pushed back. Here I'm going to just hit that edge. There we go.
Have you guys seen Castle in the Sky?
I have. It's just been a long time. I'm pretty sure I saw it.
And a Hayao Miyazaki film of Floating Castle. Yeah.
Yep.
I absolutely love that movie.
Yeah, I know. I think I watched it with you, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm just pushing a few areas out. Adding some interest. Textural interest.
Which of the Disney villains is your favorite?
Oh, I really love Maleficent. I really love Maleficent.
They're talking the newer Maleficent or the one from
No,
from the classics?
From the hand-drawn. The hand-drawn Maleficent. I love that movie.
I haven't seen
Sleeping
that
Beauty.
Years.
Sleeping Beauty's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and add some dust particles. Let's see here.
Do you have any tips for drawing muscle in animals?
My best tip is study anatomy. That's the best tip I can give you. I'm going to go to color dodge. Come up here. Sorry, I'm thinking right now. I have a hard time talking and I'm going to burn in some areas here.
Can you copy paste your skills into my brain?
Sure.
Let me just hook up this landline right in the back of your head.
So I'm just hitting some of these areas to brighten them up. I'm burning them in. See there, it gives a nice sense of light.
What did you think of the live action Beauty and the Beast?
I liked it. I wanted to like it more, but I still liked it. I you know, having worked on the original, it was odd for me to watch that. So, you know, that's probably my biggest thing. It was just a weird experience for me.
Can I work for Creature Art Teacher?
I wish so. I wish we had the demand. Well, we're working on it. Maybe someday.
The higher the demand, the more staff we'll need.
That's right. So right now I'm playing with light. That's what I'm doing right now. Playing with light. I'm burning in areas. Playing with texture.
How many years were you in art school for?
I was in art school for 3 years.
What does the amount of flow do?
It's the amount of pigment that comes out basically. So I'm just hitting some nice bright areas here. Just lightening up some of these areas, creating textures. There we go.
Do you paint with your Wacom at an angle, flat on the table, or perpendicular to you?
Camera 2. There you can see, this is how I work right here. And I've got, pull back even further, because you can see I've created a little stand here.
As far as it can go.
Oh, go ahead and move the camera.
Yeah.
I built a stand for myself where I have my second monitor up here. There we go. So if you go up, there's my second monitor. And so those are the monitors that I use. There.
Ba-bam.
Bam.
Ba-bam, bam. Ba-bam, bam.
There we go.
And boom. Worry about this wire getting in the way. Just a little bit closer.
So let's do our finishing touches. I think one thing that would be kind of cool, let's do this. How about a little bit of blue-gray smoke? Coming out of his mouth, a nose.
What was the painting on the easel? Some people notice that when you're.
It's a charcoal. It's a charcoal drawing of a leopard that I did a while back.
And is this for cherry wood? The wood for the floor?
Yes. Going a little heavy on this. Whoa. Just softening up some of these areas.
How do you know when to finish a drawing?
I don't always know. Sometimes I go too far, sometimes I don't go far enough. Sorry, folks. But this one's almost finished. For sure.
What kind of snake is your favorite?
Eastern diamondback rattlesnake. And eastern coral snake as well. I like that. I like coral snakes.
What kind of rattlesnake was that? That almost bit me on that trail we went to that one time. Do you?
I don't remember what kind it was actually. But it was big enough or dangerous enough.
That was definitely an interesting day.
It was, wasn't it?
Originally, we were supposed to go snow sledding, but instead we decided to hike the side of the mountain, and I almost got attacked by one rattler, and we saw two
No,
other
you didn't
rattlers.
almost get attacked. Snakes don't attack.
Well, I went,
You almost stepped on one.
yeah, which would have led to a retaliating.
A bite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which attack.
It's not an attack. It's defense.
Anyways,
Snakes
But
have
we
a
saw-
bad rap.
we probably saw at least what 3 on the trail.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Oh, I think we saw more than that. So here I'm adding my last little touch. These little dust particles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter these, blur them, blur them out just a little bit, and then do another layer. And what that does is it creates a little depth within the dust particles. Might be going a little heavy. Maybe they might be a little big too, but that's all right. All right, well, I'm finishing up. I'm going to do one last thing. I want to add a little grunge texture to all of this. I'm going to oops, no, cancel. File, open, grunge. This Mac. Creature grunge. Oh. Does that have the grunge texture on it? I forgot about this creature.
Which creature?
This guy, I did this a while back. Forgot all about him. That's not the one I'm looking for, though.
That definitely looks like a Star Wars character.
Pumpkinhead. All right, let me go file, open, grunge. Sorry, guys. One more look. I know where I'm looking this time. Forest Creature 2, open. There it is. There's my grunge texture right there. Add a free transform. Boom. 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 And I'm going to set that a little higher percentage. There, I like that. Hit return. Hit return. And now I can go in with my eraser and just take out the areas that I want to be brightened a little bit.
Don't forget to hit save.
Oh, it's saving.
Oh, it's already saved?
Yeah. But as I'm doing this, you know, if you want to see more stuff like this, I've got whole courses on how to create your own creatures over on my website. So check out creatureartteacher.com. That's my website. And there's a lot of stuff on there. Here's our creature for today. So this was fun. So once again, remember that whole inspiration was I was looking at this trash bag. This is where we got our start. I was looking at a trash bag and got really inspired and decided to sit down with you guys and do this drawing. And this is what we came up with. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I love finding things. You know, you can see faces in marble and dirt and rock and stone and cement and the clouds and all that stuff. Use those as inspiration. Keep your phone handy where you can take a photograph, because they'll always give you something that you never thought about. So anyway, I'm going to take off, and like I said, I really enjoyed this. This is I like this painting. This is a lot of fun, and there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Go out and experiment with this. You know, try finding something that looks like something else to you. Take a picture of it, bring it into Photoshop, and try doing some painting. All right. So go out there and remember, I'm going to be on Facebook on Tuesday. Next Tuesday. I'll be back here again next Friday. Putting out another. I'm putting out a video probably tonight. So they'll look on my YouTube channel. There'll be a new video out there on some of the flying issues I was talking about in animation. But anyway, go out there and put some beauty back into the world. That's what we need to do. That's what we do as artists. Remember that. And go out and be nice to somebody and create some beautiful art. Because there's nothing better than being an artist. I love it. But anyway, thanks, Dustin, for a great day.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to say goodbye. So go out and have a great week, and look for me over on Facebook on Tuesday, and I'll be back here on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, you guys. I had fun. Bye.
Cowboy Bebop.